Hello, good morning all. Well, Maisie and I are here. Actually, I should just say, I'd start my videos again by saying, this is Anya Divine here. I can't really show you myself. Yeah, I will try. Hello, my name is Anya Divine and I do videos like this occasionally. I try and do them every day and I don't do them every day. But here's me and Maisie. And I think it might be afternoon already, but I'm revisiting Samuel Beckett. I did a painting of Samuel Beckett a couple of weeks ago, maybe last week. That's my belly rumbling. And his face is one that always fascinates me. And honestly, I'm painting him again because somebody bought that painting, and it was of interest to a few folk, so I'm painting him again for one of the other people who got in touch about buying that painting. So it's a tiny little icon of a photo that I've got here, and like I said before, there's a quote of the Samuel Beckett quote above it that I wrote in. This is a kind of sketchbook I put together, a scrapbook I suppose years ago, just from images of pictures that I love. Yeah, it's kind of fascinating to look through things that, so to look through things that I made a few years back, But the point is that above his picture, I've written one of his quotes, which struck me at the time. Perhaps my best years are gone, but I wouldn't want them back, not with the fire in me now. And you can feel, I think, from his face, that fire. And hopefully in my painting I'll manage to somehow embody a feeling of that as well. So let's make a start. I've got everything fairly close to me here. Kitchen paper, my palette, and Maisie, nice and quiet. So I think I'll begin with the ultramarine blue, and what about this? That's burnt sienna, I think. I like burnt sienna and ultramarine blue together. That's where I'm going to start, with those two. Okay. I hope the light is okay for you. It's a little bit dull for me, but it's alright. I've often found that it doesn't really take an awful lot of detail. I don't have to find a huge amount of detail, really, in order to capture the portrait. At least in this case, the photograph is so beautiful that the lighting is very clear, and so it's not too difficult to pick out the important darks and lights there. So there's a lot more ease in me than the last time I painted Samuel Beckett. I can't remember the detail, but I remember feeling a little bit out of sorts that time, or the way that we are sometimes in life, isn't it? A little bit lost in myself and feeling, that whole fumbling, stumbling that comes occasionally. I'm putting some soft green now into the crimson. And so I remember it being a cathartic thing painting. What a gift it is to have this as a possibility in life for me. Anyway, I find it a very soothing, often soothing occupation. Sometimes it's the opposite, of course, like anything. But when I dedicate and just show up, I suppose, when I dedicate some time to working with paint, I find that I am generally, there is a feeling of I want to say reward, but it doesn't sound right. It's like built into the process of making the thing is a satisfying coming home to myself, because I suppose it's only from me that this can be made in this way, on this day, in these colours, and it's an anchoring of myself into life again somehow. That's at least how, maybe I'm trying to phrase how it might have felt that time, but I think at that time the time that I painted him before, I don't think I was really in a position to synopsize the feelings. I just ended up feeling a wee bit better in the end, I think, or feeling more clearly. No. And actually somebody sent me a quote, I think it was Pat who bought the painting. I think she said to me, there was a SamuelBeckett quote, fail, something about no matter, try again, fail better, or something like that. I guess it's a very familiar thing for any creative in life, especially, that you kind of need to get up again and fail better. And you know, any creative, which is what we all are really, living a life is a creative act. However we manage to move ourselves through it. I wonder, is there any sense going to be made here now? Let's see. So we've got that bolt of hair, which is not really so far away from those eyes. It makes me feel like those wrinkles could be a little bit lower then. I mean, with this kind of thing, it's never a given that it'll work out. However, I feel like every time that I've come through a phase of floundering, and I was talking about painting, but I suppose in life too, every time it's like a little vote, a kind of evidence of survival, that and that it's a cloud passing, you know, that whole thing of this too will pass. Each time it passes, I suppose there is a new confidence that's available the next time. Whether or not it tapped into the next time is another story. Because I feel like in everything, it needs to have a freshness to it that is unknown going into it. And otherwise, you know, delight and surprise might be lost to us, like. Okay, so let's see now. Those lovely cheekbones. Somebody, because I was aware that, you know, there's a lot of images of male writers, and there are absolutely inspiring and magnificent female writers the world over, and I'm aware that the ones I've been selecting have been because I just had this postcard, I suppose, from Ireland, and all the writers on this postcard were male. You know, it was kind of acclaiming the Irish poets. And so I looked it up online, and there was an article written by a female writer in the Irish Times, and I think it was entitled, you know, Ireland's Greatest Writers, something like this, and not a vagina between them. It was a powerful phrase, but she had collated a group of women writers. I'm ashamed to say I didn't know all of them, but this is it, isn't it? We need to kind of recover. It's a bit like my friend, I would like to call her my friend, Gerda Stevenson. She's an incredible Scots writer who, amongst other things, but she wrote the book Quines recently, which celebrates lost women in history, really women who achieved incredible things in adversity as well, often, and pretty much always. And it's not only that, but just celebrating, you know, the lives of powerful, exciting, adventurous spirits who happen to be female and just hadn't been celebrated as they could have been. And I think it's fantastic that she's bringing it to light in her wonderful poetry. If you want to know more about that, now look up Horsehead Nebulous. Horsehead Nebulous is one of her poems about the female astrologer who discovered that phenomenon in the stars. And probably, I don't know if it's stars or galaxy, you know, it's some kind of configuration in space. But it was the the poem was spoken in the words of the horsehead nebulous. The horsehead nebulous itself, you know, this form that looks like a horse in space. And it's a fantastic, you can find it on YouTube. In fact, I've not been great for putting links below things recently in my videos, you might have noticed. But below this video, I'll post a link to Gerda Stevenson's poem called Horsehead Nebulous. It's her reciting it. And I attended a workshop with her during the summer where she recited that one, and I just felt it was a very beautiful poem. So I bought the book, and there are many beautiful poems in it. So all that to say that I'm on the lookout now for photos of inspiring female writers. And I think on the cards next might be Maya Angelou, one of my personal all-time favourites, who you know, wrote that beautiful and recites it so beautifully, the poem, still I rise, still like a life I rise. I love that. So her, and also Nan Shepherd, who I love. And there's Enda O'Brien, is it? Edna or Enda? I might have the name wrong now. I'm only just coming across female writers of my own heritage, and it's, you know, it's down to my own lack of looking, really, and maybe the lack of promotion too. Let's make some changes there. I know, you know, my painting of Momolan was bought by the National Gallery in Ireland last year, and they had said that there's a new, you know, there. It was the curator, actually, one of them is a lovely woman, and gosh, I can't think of her surname. Anyway, she was saying how there is a dearth of female portraits by female painters, or even male portraits by female painters in the National Gallery, and they're inspired to change that. So all you female painters, and Joyce Gunn Cairns, who's a beautiful Edinburgh painter as well, has got a portrait of, I think it's Colm Tóibín, that was bought by the National Gallery a couple of years ago as well. So it's lovely to feel that I'm represented there and she's represented there, and there's changes happening. Oh, honestly. I'm just going to stop the video now, start it again in step 2.